Hi everyone, for today's video is the continuation of our previous video of Sword Oratoria Volume 16, which the rescue team to save Loki Familia was divided into two groups. In Chapter 4, the hero gathering route, including Alan, four Gulliver brothers, Raoul and others, are forced marching in the Ice Garden return to present. Finn, Gareth, Anakitty, Riveria, and their group advance through the Ice Garden, exhausted but resolved. But Bate was impatient, and he scouts an exit and charges ahead to find Ice, Tione, or other survivors using the signaling artifact that Finn gives him, created by Asfi. When Asfi's magic illuminates, Finn understands Raoul, and reinforcements from the surface aren't far, and this gives unexpected hope crosses the group. The ice prison, thanks to Riveria's detection spells, the team finally locates Tione. She's at the most dangerous place in the Ice Garden's heart, where all tempests seem to converge. Finn decides to advance immediately, guided by urgency to save Tione. Nevertheless, it's almost too late. They discover Tione crucified in an ice column, lost in madness and pain, her body broken and eyes now empty of reason. Beginning of the true battle at the 60th floor. Raoul explains that successive demi-spirit appearances in the dungeon aren't random, but part of a vertical destruction ritual. The corrupted spirit's objective was to use its power to pierce the dungeon and recreate the Great Hole, to destroy not just the city, but the entire dungeon in depth. Only the Dream Party and certain leaders understand this hidden plan, based on demi-spirit's accumulation and activation at these key points. Raoul hasn't reported the danger earlier because he knows his intuition would be ignored, and he thinks he's simply a high novice. Alfred sees through Raoul that he consciously accepts possibility of sacrificing himself and dying to bring everyone else success. The Einherjar from Freya Familia finally recognize Raoul as the key person supporting the hero's march. Despite his mundane aura, Raoul becomes the vector of collective courage, ready to face death. In the Ice Garden, Finn's team discovers Tione, and she imprisoned in an ice pillar in the Ice Garden. Her mutilated and frozen body shows she's been transformed into a monstrous guardian. Her twisted limbs reform into ice weapons, and her mind entirely lost. The glacial curse infecting her body acts as this garden's protection matrix, making her a pawn in an ancient magical ritual. Any intrusion activates the curse. The captured adventurers are transformed into guardians protecting the sanctuary. Conscienceless, Tione fights her comrades with level 7 monster power, and she exceeding all human strength. Finn, Gareth, and Riveria face the ice warrior Tione, while Anakitty protects wounded Amid and Tsubaki. Each strike creates a cold waves. Ice invades their weapons and arms, and Riveria expends spiritual strength, preventing their own capture. Finn understands Tione isn't just physically imprisoned, but victim of mental and spiritual corruption. As she mutters incoherent phrases, and later they learned that it will be memories from Albert Wallenstein and his allies, Tione's voice seems to recall past conversation with Finn. Her question between the woman you love and world peace, which would you choose? And these words reignite his pain, facing an impossible dilemma. The other half of twins, Tione was parasitized by the flower monster of despair, while Tione was corrupted and became the Ice Guardian. If you want to know what happened to Tione when she was the most gravely injured of all members of Loki Familia, and she was impossible to be saved, you should watch our video of Volume 21 of Main Story, which where others was about to kill her, and miraculously, Belle saved her. Over on Finn's side, as battle against Tione transformed into the Ice Guardian reaches its peak, Divine Spirit's words resound, which would Finn choose between his love or the world. If he tries to save Tione, he condemns his companions, but if he kills her, he ensures the group's survival, but sacrifices Tione. Seeing Riveria exhausted and Ice trying to consume Gareth, Finn decides to act alone with remaining faithful to his captain role. Launching into the Tempest, he breaks the protective field and approaches the Guardian, ready to face both cold and the divine question. He then unleashes his magic art, Hellfinagas. The Scarlet Lance, a battle exaltation spell that literally sets his blood ablaze to heighten all his forces. Supported by his legendary skill, Noble Brave, he resists the Ice Garden's spiritual corruption. His heroic spirit remains intact, proof he cannot be tainted or frozen. Facing possessed Tione, Finn pronounces the choice every hero flees. I'll sacrifice neither you nor the world, and I'm taking everything. Sacrifice and renunciation, constants of heroic myth, finally become for him lies to reject. There was a clear setup between the world or her, foreshadowing a choice, so I figured Finn would save the day in style, but he went far beyond my expectations. His shocking solution to save her was a kiss. In savage gesture, Finn breaks the ice by seizing Tione and kissing her. I never thought Finn would become the second character to use a kiss as a weapon in a serious scene. Still, given that the Hell Finnegas boosts battle lust but can be resisted through strong emotional control, a powerful emotional act like a kiss actually makes sense. Finn's action was in fact the most logical choice. With Riveria's green magical wave completes purification, the blizzard collapses and the ice melts. Tione faints and freed, while the ice garden finally calms. After the kiss, Tione regains her consciousness. But immediately there's another crisis. Unlike the previous ones who strikes Finn, it really reinforces the sense that these two are trapped in a loop of serious moments that always devolve into comedy. And everyone's reactions to the kiss were priceless. Ermid, blushing from her neck to her ears, hiding her face in both hands, was absolutely adorable. Anna Kitty, with her bashful expression, twitching ears and wagging tail, was even cuter. I was honestly frustrated that we didn't get an illustration of that scene. After that, a flustered Ermid kept repeating the kissing sound, which was just hilarious. Technically, both the kiss and the touch could be considered medical procedures or rescue actions, so Ermid would probably justify them that way again. Back to the serious part. What really caught my attention was how Finn's eyes turned red before casting magic. This ties heavily into Knights of Fianna, as Finn's hell, Finnegas, originates from the Crimson Lance of Oaths, which is fused with his soul. Just like the ancient Finn and Dim, it wouldn't be strange for his eyes to turn red even without using magic. But what intrigues me is, why did his eyes turn red this particular time, before the spell was cast? Was it because Finn's heart burned with such fierce determination that the lance resonated? Or was there some specific condition that he fulfilled at that exact moment? What matters is that even while entering the excitement state induced by Hell Finnegas, Finn managed to keep his sanity. Although his mental resources were partly devoted to Arya's performance, he suppressed his impulses through his noble, brave skill. To me, that felt like clear evidence of Finn's evolution, an awakening in the power of Hell Finnegas. Until now, the only time Finn managed to remain rational while using his magic was 7 years ago, as shown in a Stria record. Back then, he maintained control thanks to the piercing light, though it was precarious and paradoxical being sane while insane. It mirrored the old Finn who devoted his life to vengeance and sustained a cold fury for over a decade. But now, with his noble brave ability activated, Finn controlled the Crimson Lance of Oaths exactly like his old ally once did in the past, mastering the weapon through courage and drawing out all its power. In other words, from this point on, it's likely that Finn can ignore the side effects of Hell Finnegas, like the surge in battle lust, and completely control its full strength. Finn's potential when using magic is comparable to that of a top-tier adventurer. Maybe as the story goes on, we'll see a Finn capable of unleashing an even stronger version of the first strike of the Scarlet Spear, one that surpasses even his past self. Raoul and the rescue team are in the central cavern, face final magical defenses. A giant ritual circle completes the dungeon's artillery preparation, called Sixth Spiritual Ring. While Alan and the Gullivers attack, the demi-spirit Golden Tulip activates the incantation at full force. The gigantic magical explosion strikes downward as a pillar, not skyward as planned. The creature first wants to absorb Ais and destroy the Loki family members at the Ice Garden. Raoul understands that their battles against these creatures on other floors at least saved Finn and company, because the ritual weakened by other demi-spirits' destruction couldn't accomplish the greatest destruction possible. The entire team trembles but finally receives Loki's call through the Oculus, saying thanks to them, the Loki Familia's heart survived the destructive wave. Finn, Gareth, Riveria, Amid, Tione, and their allies barely escaped the Sixth Ring's vertical fire, which annihilated the frozen ice garden. The group was exhausted but alive. reaches the demonic world's heart organic territory, where walls are composed of pulsing flesh and blood. Amid heals Tione. She's still unconscious. While Finn deduces without proof that Raoul and the Freya team voluntarily reduced the explosion's power to save their lives toward the last sanctuary.